about to turn 18 years old. It was in Los Angeles on 41st Street in Central. They have an Elks Hall there. And at that time, they had a rally for the freedom of Geronimo. This was in 1972. And she had come back from Algeria because she was going to testify at Geronimo's trial. At that time, because of the division that had been made in the organization, there were a few people who would come and speak on his behalf when he was about to be railroaded. Many of you know Sister Kathleen Cleaver. Geronimo talked about several organizations. One of the ones he talked about was the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And before she was a member of the Black Panther Party and the leadership of the Black Panther Party, she was a member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And then joined the Black Panther Party and was one of the leaders and spokespersons for that organization. And now she is a very important scholar in our community nationally. And so we want to bring her up with a powerful hand, Sister Kathleen Cleaver.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Even though it is a classroom, it really looks like sort of like a family reunion. I think there's more people in this room related to Geronimo than anybody else. You're related to Geronimo by birth, you know, like you're married to him, you're his child, you're his cousin. Raise your hand.
All right.
Some of them won't admit it, but it's like a wedding, you know, like all one family on one side and the rest on the other. It's beautiful. And it's so beautiful. I mean, that's what I was in Los Angeles for the memorial there. And there was 3 times as many relatives than here because he lived there. And a few of them came there. They're just such a good-looking group of people. They really are. So it's a joy to see you. I haven't seen Shona and his daughter since the day he was released. And you know, you asked me to talk about G and the Black Panther Party, which I can do. Although whenever I think about it, I met him because he came to Los Angeles, which is where Eldridge was from, and my husband Eldridge had met Bunchy Carter in a very interesting encounter in Soledad prison. Eldridge had done a lot of time, and he was on his way out, and they sent him to Soledad to sort of soften him up from the 10 years in Folsom and Quentin, so he could come out. And he had been in the Nation of Islam, but when Malcolm X was expelled, Eldridge quit. And that wasn't just quitting an organization. He was Eldridge X, he was Minister Eldridge, but he was also the person who brought a freedom of religion lawsuit against the state of California for the nation inside San Quentin. So when Malcolm left, he left. When he left, the lawsuit fell apart, and the Muslims in San Quentin were very angry at Brother Eldridge. And so he goes down to Soledad. Bunchy Carter was still in the nation, and Bunchy was sent to tell Eldridge that they were going to do something to him. Now, the way I heard about it, Eldridge told Bunchy, well, I'm going to tell you why you're not going to do anything, and why I am not going to be returning to the nation. And he explained his politics, and basically he and Bunchy decided that they were going to start an organization, a revolutionary organization that didn't have anything to do with the nation. It had to do with the Black Revolution. It was called the Radicals. They had an outfit, they had an ideology, it was more based on family views and lumping, organized in lumping. Eldridge got out first. He was released first in 1966 in December, and Bunchy got out a year later. By the time Bunchy Carter got out, Eldridge was already in the Black Panther. And Bunchy was very confused. He felt that they had betrayed him. But what's wrong with him? He went down to LA. He ended up starting working with the Team Post. And Eldridge and he continued to talk, and Eldridge tried to persuade him that the Black Panthers actually did represent the concept of organization that he and Bunchy had talked about in prison. Bunchy wasn't persuaded until after Huey Newton was arrested and charged with the murder of John Fry. And then he thought maybe the Panthers might be revolutionaries after. And so when I actually met Geronimo, it was in the context of Eldridge and Bunchy being together in Los Angeles. I don't remember the exact way we met. I do remember the most important time we were in a meeting, and it was because the Black Panther, what Geronimo was saying about the Black Panther Party, take everyone coming from other organizations. Not necessarily everyone, but leaders came from different organizations, but people were also parts of, many of you have heard of the Black student strike at San Francisco State. And it was the Black Student Union, which had begun previously, I think, as a Negro Student Union. Jimmy Garrett changed the name. I think it was San Francisco State, one of the first ones. But they were, for the most part, members of the Black Panther Party. And we were having meetings in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, central staff Black Panther meetings about the strike, because the central staff of the Black Student Union, there were Panthers, and the Black Panther Party were Panthers, and we were planning how the strike was going to function. And Geronimo and I were in the meeting at the same time, and he was sitting in a chair, sort of facing me, and I just remember he sat there, was so intense. He didn't say much. What I didn't realize, the reason he didn't say much, he thought a lot, he didn't say much because he had this accent from Louisiana. And people didn't know exactly what he said. Bunchy had to work with him to get it. Just later on, he said he didn't speak. No, because we say things, people didn't know what he said all the time. And he was very intense, and he was also very thoughtful, and you could just feel his energy. And so when that was in December of 1968. Why is that important? Because 2 years later, he was accused of murdering someone in December of 1968 while he was sitting in this meeting. However, this is how the government worked. And now, you all know about counterintelligence, or you've heard about it, how they wanted to divide and destroy the Black Panther Party. Now, Geronimo, like I said, was in the Los Angeles Black Panther Party. He was in this meeting where they were talking about the ways that students could organize. He had been at UCLA as a student. There was a very large component of Black students within the Black Panther Party, within the Black Revolutionary Movement. And one of the intents of the way they decided to divide the party was being worked out on these college campuses by students who were also in the Black Panther Party. And so Geronimo was accused, after having been the person responsible for protecting the Black Panther headquarters in Los Angeles, which was attacked by the SWAT team, Special Weapons and Tactics, which was created to attack the Black Panther Party. Most of you here think that SWAT teams just exist. No, SWAT teams did not exist. Special Weapons and Tactics were police units created, the first one was in Los Angeles, specifically to attack the Black Panthers. That's why they have a SWAT team, and that's what they were created to do. And the first effort that the first display of their talent was against the 41st and Central headquarters of the Black Panther Party in Southern California that had been organized by Bunchy Carter, Geronimo, and quite a few others who were very, very astute, both politically and militarily. And Geronimo had taught people how to sandbag and how to protect and how to defend the office. And so when the SWAT team rolled out on the morning of December 8th, I believe it was, 4 days after the Chicago police had murdered Fred Hampton and Mark Clark in their sleep in an apartment building in Chicago. This is the height of the assault to eliminate the Black Panther Party, not to vote them out away, not to arrest them away, to kill them. This is what they were doing. They were just killing them. And killing our leaders and arresting them where they had been killed. So they were unsuccessful. SWAT was unsuccessful in killing any Black Panthers because of the way the office was defended, because of the sandbags, because of the training that Geronimo had provided. They had actually gone to his apartment before, early in the morning before they attacked the Panther office, but he figured they were coming. He was sleeping on the ground. They shot in his apartment, but they missed him. They shot where he would have been sleeping, but he was hiding. And so after that, they said, okay, we got to get rid of this man. We got to get rid of him because here was someone, as he said in his trial, I'll never forget this, when he went to his trial, they asked him if he was in the U.S. Army. He said, yes, the U.S. Imperialist Army. I was in his trial as an alibi witness. Why? Why me? There was a whole group of people, the whole San Francisco Panther, Student Union, Black Panther, everybody was in this meeting. So how come I was the one who was an alibi witness? How come I had to come all the way from Algeria to be a witness in a trial about something that happened in 1968 in December in Los Angeles? Because Geronimo had been expelled from the party and accused of being all sorts of ridiculous things. Elders and I and others had defended him. Oh, we were expelled from the party. And Geronimo said, how can that be? How are they going to expel us? But at the time, they announced it, they put it in the paper, so there was something that was called a split. What that meant was that anyone who was expelled from the party was no longer a participant, and anyone who would participate in defending Geronimo, who had been expelled, would be kicked out. So they had it all wrapped up. So it was only 2 people in the Black Panther Party who came and testified for Geronimo, and I was one, and Shirley Hewitt was another, and I couldn't say exactly the date. I said, I know it was the same day I found out I was pregnant, but I don't know exactly what day that was. It was that week. So they said that wasn't good enough, and Shirley, nothing was going to be good enough. Geronimo was going to be convicted regardless. They fabricated testimony. But what I want you to see is they used an unsolved murder to divide the leadership, to destroy someone who they could not defeat, could not kill, and used that to go through and break up the Black Panther Party. So actually they created a different type of organization. They didn't break up the Black Panther Party, they broke up the revolutionary elements of the Black Panther Party. Some people went underground, some people had to go to jail and stayed there a very, very long time. Some people left the country. And you know what? And some people, like those who work with the police, they got good jobs, like Julio Butler. You know, they got degrees or they got special treatment. But long story short, I'm very pleased to say that at this time, you turn around, that every major city, they've had a tribute, a memorial, a service to remember who? Geronimo. They're not to remember the Black Panthers, to remember Geronimo. It's what he said. It's not the name of the organization, it's the spirit. Geronimo represented the spirit, intelligence, taking responsibility, fighting for your freedom, keeping it real, training. Like he said, we don't want to be famous. We want to win. We don't want to be famous. We want this unfortunate man, opportunist, trying to go to Market City to, I guess, to cheat people out of the money. Because he said, let's collect money to have a statue of Geronimo. And he called me up. He had the nerve to call me up on the phone. I said, well, how dare you call me and ask me that? Don't you know Geronimo wouldn't even sign an autograph? That's right. And you want to make a statue? Right. Are you crazy? Don't you know Geronimo's my son? Oh, I'm sorry. But it's just that the values of a revolutionary were the values we brought into the Black Panther Party. I'm not going to say the Black Panther Party continued. It started out the Black Panther Party for self-defense. It went on to the Black Panther Party. After they kicked out all the revolutionaries, we started calling them the Toronto Street Gang or the Black Snake Party. We didn't see any revolutionary. So don't get hung up on the name, the Panther. Get hung up on the spirit of resistance, serving the people, taking responsibility, educating, training, loving, having a family, acknowledging your Africanness, acknowledging your nationness. These are the things. This is the revolutionary nationalist, Marxist, socialist movement that we were part of that was called, at some point in time, the Black Panther Party, but the Black Panther Party did not contain that movement. That's what I think is so important. And when people have tributes to Black Albans, tributes to Geronimo, these are not tributes to the Black Panther Party. These are tributes to the spirit of resistance, the spirit of revolution, and the spirit of an extraordinary human being, beautiful man, father, husband, soldier, great spirit of Geronimo. Jaga. Thank you.